Here we are on Cricbuzz Live, the big challenge in front of Team India. 2-1 down in the series and again having lost the toss. That's the big news at the very top. India will be challenging themselves to do it the hard way to try and level the series at 2-all. This is game number 4 of 5 of T20 internationals from Ahmedabad. And again, at the very beginning, let's quickly reflect on what's happened so far. The first game going to England, the second to India, leveling up, having won the toss there and fielded. Then England again winning by 8 wickets. So I wouldn't say comfortable, but 3 clinical run chases from the chasing sides. If India want to make it 2-all, they'll have to do something very, very different. At the very top, as I join my guests, Michael Vaughan and Zaheer Khan, Virat Kohli mentioning that had he won the toss, he would probably also have put himself in this tougher position. Michael Vaughan, your first reaction to that?
Nonsense. It's easy to say when you've lost the toss. No, I'm pretty sure he'd have bowled first. It's been the way the games have been going. We've just seen on the screen there that there's been 2 wins by 8 wickets, 1 by 7 wickets. It's been the case of whoever's batted second, it has got easier to bat. I thought the last game there was a bit more in it for the bowlers, but Josh Buttler was outstanding. And a player like Buttler can turn up and play, and you know you're going to struggle as an opposing team. But Owen Morgan, same team, same kind of plans, tactics. They'll bowl quickly into the surface. I'm interested to see how India have learnt from the first 2 games where they've had to bat first, where they obviously were blown away in the first game. Did okay in the third game of the series because of Virat Kohli. Will they have practice the short ball of playing those cut shots, those pull shots? Will they come out with a different tactic? Will they go harder to try and get that 190 score that it looks like you're going to need when you bat first on this kind of surface?
Well, we'll talk about a couple of very dramatic changes, but before that, Zaheer, a quick one. Virat Kohli enjoys a challenge. You know, when the chips are down for him personally as a player, he always enjoys it and comes out on top. He'll want that to permeate into the dressing room. 2-1 down, lost the toss. Over to you, Team India.
Absolutely, I think it's everyone knows the importance of winning this game. You know, if you lose this game, the series is lost. So it's very important that you bring out your A game. Even if you are batting first, the conditions suggest that the team batting first has not had it easy. It's your opportunity. It's right now your challenge to face and overcome that, and you have to have that extra cushion. So if you have to make the game out of it, then I'm sure the team must have figured in terms of getting those 180 plus score, because that's going to be very, very important. Not only looking at the conditions, but also looking at how England has been going on about their business. They are going to put your bowlers under pressure. So I've been saying that this series is going to be about who bats better. And an Indian team, for them to win this match and this series, they have to prove that their batting lineup is more than capable of doing that. It'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies the batters walk in with. It'll be interesting to see what kind of opening combination they go in with. So it's all in all going to be exciting one, and the challenge is going to be tough. The numbers suggest otherwise. Batting first has not been easy. If India does it, I think that's gonna boost the morale going in the last T20 and in the World Cup to another level. So I think from that point of view, it's a good challenge. It's about India to go out there and make it happen, and then take the confidence forward.
Yep, certainly. Almost a Freudian slip from Zaheer, as he said, baiting instead of batting. It could just be the baiting lineup that you require to lure the bowlers in. 2 significant changes for Team India. 1 in the batting department, 1 in the bowling. And there you can see it. No place in this particular game for Ishan Kishan. Surya Kumar Yadav makes his way back into the team after missing out the last time around. And it's spinner for spinner. Out goes Yuzvendra Chahal, something Zaheer had mentioned when we had a chat earlier. In comes Rahul Chahal. Zaheer, I'll stay with you. First reaction to both those changes. You know both these players very well.
Well, it's an interesting one. You'll have to see now how it pans out. Clearly, I would have loved to see Ishan Kishan opening the innings with Rohit Sharma, and then maybe use Gail Rahul as a floater. If you lose early wicket, bring him in early. If you don't, then you take a call accordingly. But Indian team has decided otherwise. It's surprising to see Ishan Kishan missing out. Has shown a lot of promise, and once he is in, can actually put pressure on the spinners as well. And with that six hitting ability, I'm a bit surprised there. But hope this change works out in Indian team's favor, and hope Gail Rahul joins the party and proves why he is in that top 5 of the T20 batters ranking.
Yeah, England obviously unchanged, Michael. But your reaction to India adopting England's rotation policy?
I don't get it. India are clearly searching for their best 11. As you could say, that England were in the Test series, they were trying to find out their best combinations. You look at England in white ball cricket, the T20 format. When everyone's fit, they stick with their same side. It's the second time now that this side's rolled out. 3 out of 4 games, Mark Wood missed that second game, but very consistent in selection because they trust and they know that their roles within the team are very secure. India just trying to search for the right combinations. I'm really surprised, but particularly at the top of the order, they're going to go out with 2 right-handers. Adil Rashid will open the bowling again. You would think that India would have thought, wait a minute, put Ishan Kishan at the top, left hand, right hand, try and disrupt what has worked so well for England so far. Zaheer Khan Michael comes in. Hopefully he gets a bat. I'm sure he will do, obviously batting first. He's a high-class player, but I think sometimes you can be too loyal and too consistent. And I believe when you're in a series like this that you're looking to win, you just play the players that are in form at that given moment. So I'm really surprised that Ishan Kishan's not playing in this game.
Yep, fair call. Just trying to assess where we stand right now. Obviously, there's a hint that Gail Rahul, Zaheer will bat in that original position of opening, despite what's happened. We had a discussion maybe about him coming lower down the order, but that was only in the condition that Ishan Kishan was in the 11, and therefore you have him with Rohit Sharma as the explosive starter. So I guess with no Ishan Kishan there, it obviously makes sense for Rahul to stick up there as Virat Kohli promised.
Absolutely. I mean, there are 2 ways of looking at it. One is you're showing faith in KL Rahul. You're showing that you are our best batsman. We are backing you. Go out there and express yourself freely. We're not going to change your number. So that is something now we'll have to wait and see whether it's actually going to pan out or it's not going to pan out. Captain is taking the cue from how he has gone about finding the form. So he's trusting KL Rahul with that. But at times, you have to give importance to the current form as well, and figure it out accordingly. I would have loved to just continue and see that in form batsman, because to be fair, Surya played that game but didn't get to bat. So we still don't know what we're going to get out of him. Wherein you have a player who has already got that 50, who is already in form, full of confidence. So you can use those services, particularly in the crucial game in the series. When a lot is at stake. The series are at stake, and you have to take those calls accordingly. In the long term, I would say it's a fair call, but in the short term, if you're looking at the series and looking at just the handful of games before that big World Cup, maybe not great call.
Yeah, I'll just add, India will eventually realise that, and I keep saying it, the best T20 team in India are the Mumbai Indians, and they have to get more in, not less. And every time they take one out, they replace Ishan Kishan with Surya Kumar Yadav. Just play them both. They're 2 outstanding T20 players. Then you get Jasprit Bumrah, and then you get Rohit Sharma. You get all the Mumbai Indian players into the national team that are worthy of that national place, and certainly those 2 should be playing. They're outstanding T20 players.
Well, outside that particular franchise, there are still a few, and we will just finish off with KL Rahul. Interesting, we had a look at his numbers pre and post lockdown. There's been so many discussions over the last 1 year. How much has lockdown impacted various people's lives? Well, that's how it's impacted KL Rahul's life. He looked invincible before lockdown, scoring runs, pretty decent strike rate, 140 plus, average over 50. And then since December 2020, 1 score of 50, and the last 3 innings, we know exactly what's happened. So I'm not saying you can blame it on the lockdown, but certainly whatever time out he's had from the game, he'd like that 1 score. 5 or 6 balls, as Virat said, Zaheer.
Well, there's an old saying in cricket, isn't it? When your purple patch is going on, just keep playing. Don't take breaks. Be it for workload management or anything. I've always believed in when you are in form, when your rhythm is good, that much less work for you to prepare for matches. And in KL's case, it's actually proven example. The break has not helped him for whatever reasons. Yes, COVID is something which no one had control over, but a break can affect your rhythm. A break can affect your mindset. That is very evident, very clear with KL. He is not been part of the Test playing 11 in Australia and then England as well. So he's had a longish break from international cricket, and that is something which has certainly affected him in terms of footwork. He's trying to feel for the ball, and that's why something which we've not seen often from KL, where we're just pushing at the ball. When you are in good form, the things just fall into place. And right now, as a batsman, KL is trying to feel that bat on ball, and he's in the process missing out on his footwork, missing out on few cues to get that rhythm going. Like Virat said, I think it's just about you're just one innings away from good form. So hope that is the case with KL, and he gets that one sweet spot off the back foot, which KL Rahul usually is known for, that back foot punch which he plays through that point region. If he gets that going, suddenly everything falls into place. So hope that is the case with him today.
But should he have had that break? And the reason I'm asking the question, gentlemen, is that yes, if he's not going to be part of your Test 11. Maybe for one game he's there, and there were of course issues of quarantine, etc. But there was the opportunity for him to play the Vijay Hazare Trophy, and that would have been invaluable. Michael, any chance you get of playing a county game, playing a domestic game, take it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, the bio bubble is not easy for any player, but I find it, very, looking from the outside in. For those that are just in the squad and not playing, it must be so difficult because they know that they're not going to play. They have to stay in the bubble because quarantine times. They obviously have to be there in case there is a COVID case, in case there's an injury. So you're basically just practicing without any real intensity, because your practice is always more intense when you're going to get a game. But when you're just around the squad and you're just hanging out, you're playing loads of table tennis, bit of Xbox, whatever they do in those bubbles, loads of Zoom calls, loads of FaceTime. Before you know it, your mind's gone a little bit scrambled. So I do feel for those players that are in the bubbles and not playing any cricket, and particularly when they're looking away from the international scene and there is a domestic competition that's taking place that they could be playing in. I'm hoping they look at that in the summer. If there are going to be bubbles around the team, for the New Zealand series, really pick and choose which players go into that bubble as the backup players, because I think the majority of players just want to be playing cricket, and if you can get them to be playing county cricket, obviously it's going to give them a better chance of getting into some kind of form. Then when they come back into the bubble, into the team, at least they've got a bit of game time behind them. It's very difficult when you've been sat pretty much filling up the water bottles for 2 or 3 months, and all of a sudden you've got to go and try and find that rhythm once again. So I kind of understand KL Rahul, and also KL Rahul, I don't know him that well, but I'm guessing he's the kind of character that does like to go out and does like to go out eating and kind of socializing. And when you can't do that as a player, it's very, very difficult. So I completely understand why some players are struggling in this bio bubble world.
Yeah, I reckon that goes for pretty much all the players. But another replacement we're talking about, an interesting, Zaheer, when we were having a chat before the game, you were speculating that maybe Yuzvendra Chahal may make way, but you thought it could be for an extra pace bowler. What's happened here is you've got Chahal out and Rahul Chahar in. Chahal. Okay, you've got to get that right.
Yeah. A leggy replacing leggy. I think, that's something Chahal has been bowling well for the Indian team, but off late, maybe the expectations which the management has from him, he's not been living up to that. Slightly higher on the economy rate, that's something which you can say, and also the wicket taking form. Chahal is known to be that wicket taker, and in the middle overs you do need that wicket taker attacking that middle phase. If you get that wicket, then you really set the game up nicely. If you're defending the total, That's something which was missing. Rahul Chahar again. He's an exciting young talent. Has got that reps on the ball. So maybe he has impressed everyone enough in the nets for him to get this chance. And from the experimentation point of view, which Indian team has been very vocal about in this series, they're trying out a few things, which is not a bad thing to do, because you've seen Josh Butler, the way he batted. You've seen Jason Roy, how he's been putting pressure with the reverse sweep as well on leggies. So that is something which Indian team trying to counter by bringing in a new bowler, a new face, which might work in their favor. The batters at times can be underprepared with regard to adapting or a new line with that regard, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, a leg spinner for a leg spinner. All T20 teams that are worth their weight in salt generally have a leg spinner, so I don't see that being a massive change for India. Chahal has just not been in great form. Those numbers aren't terrific. The economy rate of over 9. You'd want it to be more in the 7s, and you'd want at least ratio of at least a wicket per game, and he's under that for the last 21 games. So not surprised by that change for India. They've just got to somehow, Zaheer, come out and play with aggression with the bat, and they need an individual like Virat or one of those top 4s to get the 75 plus and 2 or 3 cameos around it to get to 180. It would be very interesting to see if India can get to around 180, 190, how the chase will change. Of course, the pitch looks like it gets a little bit better and easy, but I don't care what batting lineup you have. If you're chasing 190, it's never an easy chase on any surface.
That's going to be the key number for sure. I think 180 plus is something which India will have to find a way of putting Mark Wood and Jofra under pressure. It'll be interesting to see whether Eoin Morgan starts with Rashid again. So third time now. I'll be seeing very keenly about how the openers go about. If Rohit Sharma, whether he's using his feet early on. Rashid has been good with tucking in, with not giving much of a room. So that is going to be an interesting battle in the first over, because that has been setting the tone, isn't it, for the whole innings?
Yeah. All right. Let me just quickly jump in here, because there's another issue that we were trying to address. There are selection issues, obviously, for Team India. England don't really have any selection issues. So what we did was we tried to pick out one of our several hundred questions that came in on hashtag #AskCricBuzzLive, and we thought it's a little relevant. England have only used a bunch of players for the series, but what about a movement up and down the order? And Shantanu has an interesting point of view. I'll come straight to Michael on this. Should England think of batting in an enforcer like Ben Stokes at number 3 instead of a steady customer like Milan, who's obviously the number 1 T20 international player? I think I probably can guess your answer, Michael, but go for it.
Well, it's quite a strong topic in the UK when David Milan doesn't quite fire as he didn't in the last game, and he's pretty much scored at 100 strike rate. There's always that debate of, do you need more power at number 3, a more explosive player? But David Milan is the number 1 T20 player in the world, and you just look at those numbers: a strike rate of 145, an average of 51, which is remarkable in T20 cricket. He's only played 22 games. I don't mind a steady customer in T20 cricket, which allows the flamboyant players to play around them. And I think real good T20 teams, of course, you need to be hitting 6s and 4s. But I think if you've got one rock and one very consistent player that just knocks it around, of course, Milan's got boundary options. That strike rate of 145 is more to the back end of his innings. His first 15, 20 balls, he generally likes to get in. He likes to knock it around. He'll score at 100, 110 strike rate, and then he explodes towards the end. When you've got so many firecrackers in a batting lineup, so many options, you could easily put Ben Stokes to 3 and bring Moeen Ali, and it gives you another bowling option. And Moeen could bat in the middle of the order. Joe Root could come into the side, bat 3, and bowl a bit of off spin. I think when you're a really, really good team, you always have 2 or 3 players that are surplus to requirements. And you're always looking at those 2 or 3 players and thinking, well, actually, they could be used at number 3, or they could open. It's just a really good England side that at the minute it's operating very well. And you look at Ben Stokes' numbers from where he bats in the order. and all the call for Ben to bat at number 3. Well, his numbers at number 3 are a lot lower than David Milan. He averages 16.75 with a strike rate of 140 against 51 and a strike rate of 145 to David Milan. So I think England have got it spot on. I think they have it right. David Milan is their rock. He's playing consistently. He's the number 1 T20 player in the world. I don't think he's that kind of player that I'd be rushing out of the bar. You know, if I'm ordering a pint, I'm not rushing out the bar to see David Milan bat. You know, that's my honest opinion. But I know that for the team, he's doing a fantastic job. I will rush out the bar when Ben Stokes runs out there. I'll be dropping my drink and getting out there to make sure that I'm watching him. But you do need that steady player, and I think David Milan deserves a lot of credit for the way that he's done that.
Well, as long as you've picked up the tab before you left, Michael, we'd be fine either way, whoever you're going to watch.
I never buy a drink.
Fair enough. There's honesty for you. But Zach, one of the reasons we sort of put it up, A, because in case England were batting first and they were trying to find a way to address this whole challenge, but B, what about the fact that Ben Stokes himself has expressed his desire to bat higher up the order? Sometimes players themselves say, listen, I'd like to. It's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons why it's come up.
Well, everyone wants to bat in that 1-2-3 in this format. You know, if you're a batter, you want to be out there, face maximum deliveries. You can have the luxury of taking your time. You can build an innings the way you want. You know, so but that luxury is not there with everyone. And as team management, also you need to understand and identify what kind of roles which you're looking at. And there are certain players which are capable of doing a certain role. With Ben Stokes, you know, you have that power, and it's not easy to find those kind of players batting at number 4, 5, 6. You know, so that's where the real value is. So whether Ben Stokes likes it or he doesn't like it, I think, you know, that's something which he adds and adds value to the team. Where you can actually see Ben Stokes coming up the order, you know, maybe if you're chasing a really humongous total and you need to go from the word go, and even if you lose wicket, you need to keep up that tempo, you know, in those situations, maybe, you know, Ben Stokes can be used as floater. In another scenario where you've not lost a wicket for about 8-10 overs, you know, in that kind of scenario, you have the luxury of using someone like Ben Stokes, where you know that the platform is already set. But typically when the game goes, I think, you know, a player like David Milan adds a lot of value because he's someone, you know, who is rotating the strike, he's absorbing the pressure, and at times you need that certain phase to be out of the game. And from that point of view, the numbers and the consistency which David Milan has shown over the years now is phenomenal. So, you know, why change something which has been working for you? So I think that formula which England has got in terms of, you know, keeping that tempo going, keeping that momentum going, you need an anchor like David Milan to really solidify that kind of approach.
Interesting. The one example that we were talking about, and we kind of hinted at it, was involving both of you in a sense. It was an England player in a match between Mumbai Indians, who both of you like in varying ways and for varying reasons, and for Rajasthan Royals chasing 190 plus. He managed to get it, and it only took a Ben Stokes maniacal innings up the order, Michael, to get it done.
Yeah, look, Ben Stokes could bat 3 and do great. You know, there's no question about that. He's a world-class performer. For me, the best pound-for-pound cricketer in the world with the way that he goes about his business across all the formats. But England's operation's working. You know, David Milan's doing great. Those numbers don't lie. He's the number 1 player in the world for a reason. That he's very consistent. If you've got an average and a strike rate, you know, of over 50 and a strike rate of over 145, take that. I'll have that. If I'm the coach of any team and you say my number 3 is averaging over 50 with a strike rate of over 45, yes, please, I'll have a piece of that. So, you know, it doesn't concern me that there's issues or there are players saying they want to bat higher up. It's very similar to bowlers, Zaheer, isn't it? That there's not many bowlers want to bowl in the first 6. There's many bowlers that want to bowl from around 7 to 16. Very similar in the batting. Everyone wants to bat in the top 3.
Exactly. You as a cricketer always want to have your comfort zone, but at times you have to do the dirty job, the tough job for the team, and that's where the management and the captain also comes in, isn't it? Like, you know, to explain your roles, and as a player, you just have to accept that challenge and mold yourself, mold your game, your mindset according to what the team needs.
Fair point. So we've got that one man who will be going out to do the tough job, whether he likes it or not, and he does like it, Gail Rahul has walked out with Rohit Sharma. But before we wrap up, we've got something slightly tougher but very interesting from Joy Bhattacharya today. And this one's a venue-related question. Which test ground shares its nickname with the former residence of the Nawab of Arcot and probably originated from the Urdu word for six gardens? So maybe you want to start off with a little Urdu to English translation, try and get a bit of that, then work around cricket venues in the world and have some fun. Well, gentlemen, here we have a very interesting score prediction in front of us because India simply have to win. And we know a 140, a 150 and a 160 is probably not going to be enough. So if we can see 2-2 in the distance, what's the score you're going to see? Zaheer, you go first this time.
I'll go 182.
Interesting reaction. You probably need 182 for that.
Yes. I'm going to go 164.
Well, 3 in a row.
Yeah, 164.
Well, I dare say if they do get to 164, England will be delighted. 184 will be happy for India. Could they get a little higher than this? I'm not sure at the moment, but they certainly will get something decent. 175. 175. Yes, Kapil Paji, 175 in a very different context is what I'm going with. So everyone looking for a little bit of magic in the number. But certainly India will be targeting Zaheer Khan's number and well beyond if it has to be 2-all. Fascinatingly set up, 2 changes for Team India. Gail Rahul, Rohit Sharma opening the batting. We'll be back to see where things stand in the 10th over as the match begins with a maximum. You can't get more drama than that. We'll see you in the 10th over. Cricbuzz Live.